Imagine this. You walk into a room, and instantly you feel them. Eyes, dozens, maybe hundreds, invisible yet palpable, assessing your every move, every word, every breath. A phantom audience resides within you, its silent judgment echoing louder than any spoken word. You crave connection, acceptance, the warmth of belonging, yet this very craving becomes a cage. The fear of their disapproval, this imagined jury, paralyzes you, dictates your choices, silences your truth. You find yourself performing, shaping your edges to fit molds you didn't create, saying yes when your soul screams no, all in pursuit of an approving nod that rarely satisfies, even when it comes. Why? Why does the opinion of others, often strangers or people whose values you don't even share, hold such tyrannical power over your inner world? What is this invisible force that promises belonging but delivers only anxiety, leaving you feeling perpetually inadequate, forever auditioning for a role you were never meant to play? How did their gaze become your prison? This suffocating weight isn't an accident of personality. It's the symptom of a deeper, often unconscious, contract you've made with the world, the relentless pursuit of recognition. We are social creatures, wired for connection. But somewhere along the way, this fundamental need gets twisted. We learn, often in childhood, through systems of reward and punishment, that our worth is conditional, something to be earned through compliance and performance. As the philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre observed, the gaze of the other can feel like an objectification, turning us from free subjects into objects defined by external judgment. Alfred Adler, the psychologist whose ideas underpin this struggle, suggested we construct our lifestyle, our unique way of navigating the world, around goals. But what happens when the primary goal becomes securing approval? We adopt a lifestyle of pleasing, of anticipating others' expectations, believing mistakenly that this is the path to security and happiness. This pursuit isn't merely a personal quirk. It's often amplified by a culture that equates visibility with value, external validation with success. The hidden problem is that we start believing the reflection shown to us by others is more real than our own inherent self. We chase shadows, mistaking them for substance, but the price of this chase is steeper than you think, paid in the currency of your own life. Living under the constant surveillance of perceived judgment erodes your freedom, subtly transforming your existence into a zero-sum game. As Kishimi and Koga highlighted, seeking approval inevitably turns life into a competition. If someone else receives the praise you crave, it feels like a personal loss. You begin to see peers not as companions, but as rivals. Their success becomes a threat, their triumphs a stark reminder of your perceived inadequacy. This fosters resentment, poisoning relationships from within. You might even find a perverse comfort in others' failures, as it momentarily alleviates the pressure on yourself. A destructive pattern that isolates you further. Even past hurts, the traumas Adler argued don't determine us, but are used by us, become tools in this warped strategy. We might cling to victimhood, not because the pain itself defines us, but because it serves the goal of avoiding judgment or eliciting sympathy. Another form of external validation. The unseen consequence is a life lived in reaction, a constant state of defense against perceived threats, utterly disconnected from authentic self-direction and genuine connection. You become trapped, not by others, but by your interpretation of their importance. What if there was another way? What if the path to freedom lies not in finally winning everyone's approval, an impossible task, but in cultivating the courage to be disliked? This is the radical rebellion Adlerian thought proposes. It begins with a fundamental shift, the separation of tasks. Your task is to live your life authentically, according to your own values and principles. How others react, whether they approve or disapprove, is their task, not yours. Trying to control their perception is not only futile, but a profound infringement on their freedom and a surrender of your own. True freedom isn't the absence of external constraints, it's the internal liberation from the need for external validation. It requires embracing self-acceptance, recognizing your worth, not as something granted by others, but as inherent. This doesn't mean becoming callous or antisocial. Paradoxically, it frees you to connect more genuinely. When you no longer need something from others, their approval, you can focus on what you can give, your contribution. As Viktor Frankl might suggest, meaning is often found not in what we get, but in what we offer to the world, however small. It's about shifting your focus from "how do they see me?" to "how can I be useful?" This requires courage, the courage to stand firm in your own sense of self, even when faced with misunderstanding or rejection. Here lies the ultimate truth, the realization that shatters the chains of approval seeking. Happiness is not a destination reached by collecting enough external validation, nor is it a reward for conforming to others' expectations. It is, as Kishimi and Koga powerfully argue, a feeling of contribution. It resides in the present moment, in the lived experience of being useful to someone, of adding value to the world, however humbly. You don't need to achieve something extraordinary or gain universal acclaim to feel this. Simply being, existing authentically, and contributing in your own way is enough. Think about it. The belief that you must earn your worth through others' eyes keeps you perpetually striving, forever falling short of an ever-shifting standard. But the realization that your value is inherent, that your mere presence can bring joy or support to others, liberates you. Happy people, grounded in this self-acceptance, don't see life as a competition against rivals. They see a world of companions, fellow travelers on a shared journey. They can genuinely celebrate others' successes because another's light doesn't diminish their own. They understand, as Adler suggested, that all human beings have value, regardless of their actions or achievements. This allows them to accept themselves fully, imperfections and all. They find joy not just in reaching distant goals, but in the process, the dance of life itself, lived moment by moment. Because if life were to end suddenly, the meaning wouldn't be found in the unfulfilled future ambitions, but in the richness of the present moments, lived with purpose and connection. You have the power right now, in this moment, to choose happiness by choosing contribution, by choosing self-acceptance, by choosing the courage to live your life, unbound by the fear of disapproval. Let go of the impossible burden of pleasing everyone. Embrace the freedom of knowing that your worth isn't up for debate. It simply is. Live that truth.